It's gonna be a great night tonight.
We're gonna buy the kneecap off.
Do what it do.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Filthy Football Casuals podcast. I'm your co-host, Carl. We got Tom and John in the house, as always. How you guys doing this week?
Going to the Super Bowl, baby.
Very excited, I would imagine.
Yeah. This is where I thought I would be sitting around this time last year. Sadly, did not go that way, but hey, we ran it back just like we said we would, so here we are.
Are you telling me when we were sitting in the 400 nosebleed section of Acrisure Stadium that you didn't think that we would make it here?
Oh, I did. I was just
37-3 slaughtering. Lest we not forget.
I just knew I had to watch 19 games before it happened. So
It's a long road.
Yeah.
Third time for your Niners in recent memory. How does this one stack up? Going into media week and all that nonsense. How you feeling? How does this compare to the other two? Maybe.
It definitely feels a little different, and I don't know that I can say I'm used to it by any stretch. But we've been in the championship game 4 times in the last 5 years, I think. So this felt like an inevitability that we'd make it back at some point. The roster has stayed relatively together, and we've been ultra competitive throughout that course, outside of one pretty down year where everyone died. Which, what are you going to do? But we made it here. We're healthy. I mean, we're going in the Super Bowl as healthy as I could hope for. I don't think anybody's dealing with injuries outside of the couple guys that are already on IR. I think the biggest names there being, of course, Talanoa Hufanga with an Achilles, and Cleveland Farrell actually got dinged up against the Packers, and he got IR'd late. But
keep forgetting they have him. Yeah,
he's been a decent role player. So, I'm not like, I don't know. It's hard to say. I'll have to do some deep dives, but I feel relaxed about it. We'll see how that goes over the next week through media week and as the game goes on. But feeling pretty good.
And got to imagine all that would just kind of continue mounting as the week goes. But it's been 22 years since I've gotten to do that. So it's been a minute. I need you to rely on you guys' experience. That's John. I understand you missed a little bit of the games this weekend. Unfortunate. Been able to catch up though. Just kind of how you feeling about the games, at least, or what you've been able to pick up, or your thoughts at least.
Again, I thought that Detroit, good for them. Right? I mean, again, if you remember kind of what we thought that they were going into the season, questionable at best. And man, did they come out strong, and they stayed strong. I mean, again, I feel like one of the huge attributes of the 49ers is, I mean, they have like an all-star roster, right? I mean, they just have very, like, I don't know, like top 3 at the position in like every position group across the board. Like it's just awesome, right? And for them to be able to roll with that team from their defense is questionable. That being the Lions, they've got a couple playmakers. Like they're kind of, again, their running backs are a bunch of, like, Montgomery's former, like, just kind of like not what you would expect to put up such a competitive game against a very strong 49ers roster. So that's looking back. I mean, I think that was, and both teams, like, it wasn't like, in my opinion, like people are calling, I know, like we've talked about, again, like kind of like the play calling, and I didn't see it, like, so I don't quite know, like I've just heard the recap, like I wasn't watching the game, so I don't quite know where and how, like every, it's just after the fact, everyone's like, oh, like you should, like, why did you do that, blah 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 blah. But I mean, to me, that there was no like obvious blunders from either team to make it that competitive of a game. Like, these were two very, very good rosters, and I mean the better team won out of the San Fran Detroit game at least.
Yeah, I mean, if we just want to get into that game and kind of go backwards a bit, I'm fine with that too. Ride the train.
That's
a
part of
little
this podcast. No set format. We can do what we want.
bit. That's true. We have no sponsors yet that are holding us to any kind of format.
True. No contracts have been signed. It's creative control is all yours. So yeah, if you want to dive in, let's do it. Let's go for it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that game was a roller coaster of emotions for me. Was not feeling great about the first half. I mean, ultimately an incredible game, which I feel like a lot of times these NFC Championship games end up kind of being those like
Sure.
insane battles, or even the AFC, like those championship games. Like that's people always say, "Oh, that was the Super Bowl," right? When after some of the matchups like that. We'll see if that holds true here, but yeah, I mean the Lions just came out swinging, and they kind of have to, right? That's they're punching up, so they've got to get some momentum early and try and hold on to it. And they did exactly that, at least for the first half. I think went in the locker room. What was it, 24-7?
It was something like that when you updated
Yeah.
me. I was like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
what is happening here?"
It was a little rough. And like I kind of pointed at a few weeks ago, once again, if you want to beat the Niners, run the ball and run it well, and you'll be able to keep them at bay, keep them off the field, put up points even, and control the game. And that's exactly what the Lions did. They, the pass game was certainly valuable to them, but I think they had 130 some yards in the first half alone, rushing.
Yeah.
Between
They've been doing all
Montgomery
year.
and Gibbs, yeah, and then a few, and of course, who is that kid that Jameson Williams, I believe, had that like 40-yard end around touchdown to kick it off for him. So yeah, the Lions just kept pounding it, and we had no answer. And when they weren't running it, what were they doing? Throwing screenplays or horizontal stretch plays that we just had no answer for, and we were just missing tackles. Just pursuit was not good. It looked rough out there for that defense. We didn't seem to have any answers in the first half whatsoever, and the offense just never got into rhythm. The one drive where we got that touchdown was a good drive, but outside of that, even with the missed field goal, it was a sloppy drive to get to that point, to be able to even miss that field goal. It's hard to say what it was exactly. Just the run game wasn't quite clicking yet. Purdy's
O-line
passes
didn't look super crisp in my opinion.
Yeah,
I like that. Detroit pass rush was really getting home, kind of giving Purdy some issues.
Yeah, I mean, which that's another huge weakness for us is our O-line. We've got Trent Williams, who's an absolute animal, and then we've got 4 guys. I love those guys because they're doing their best, but they're not exactly top tier. But and it's funny. So of course we go into the locker room, and every person that they asked about what was said in that locker room, none of them said that like anyone gave like any kind of speech or yelled or anything like that. Apparently it was just very calm, and everyone's just like, we just have to go out and do our job. Just go out and execute. Just stick to the plan, and everything will work out. Have confidence in ourselves, and that's fine. Like, no one seemed to rally the troops or anything like that, which I don't know if I buy. It was really weird that everyone had the same exact kind of answer. I'm sure there's something said. Kyle's a pretty emotional coach. I'm sure he said something, but
That's really funny.
they probably kept it, PG.
Maybe.
Sure.
I don't know. My thought's almost like if you need to be motivated in like at halftime in the semifinals, it's kind of like that might be too late. Like, you should probably already be juiced up for that game. I don't know.
That's a fair point. Yeah, it's like you're one and done. If you're not excited, like then you don't belong here anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Second half, we come out, and while we certainly got into more of a rhythm on offense, we definitely had our fair share of what some might constitute as miracles to keep that moving. Of course, the infamous bounce off the DB's face into Ayuk's hands. Heads up play by Ayuk to make that catch.
Right.
Purdy explained that throw too. I think he kind of justified it. See, I had Brandon Ayuk 1-on-1 like over the top, and that's a shot that I'm going to take if we need a spark, and that's exactly what I did. And I can't fault the decision. A better ball would have been nice, but also can't be mad at the results too much.
Insane, absolutely insane.
Yep.
I guess if you believe in football justice, if you're a Detroit fan, maybe you don't. But
Oh, jeez.
if you're a San Fran fan, yeah, that's the way that it's just unreal. I mean, what a swing.
Yeah, and defensively, we started to attack the ball a little better. We started to get more pressure on Goff throughout the second half. I think a lot of that is credited to we finally started blitzing. We were trying to get pressure with just our front four, and in the first half, it didn't really seem like we could. I mean, Detroit's O-line is pretty solid, and I know our D-line is supposed to be fierce, but if you can't get pressure consistently, it's not going to make a difference. So I think and then it was Dre Greenlaw most of the time that we just sent as an extra rusher to kind of free up some lanes and collapse the pocket, which was nice. And then weirdly, Detroit got away from the run. I think Jahmyr Gibbs had, I want to say he had like 12 carries in the first half and 0, I think, in the second. I don't think they handed it off to it once, which was shocking. So yeah, they seem to kind of abandon the run game, which when you have a huge lead and you're trying to control the game and run the clock out for a whole half, that's what you do. And it was working insanely well in the first half, so it's very odd that they would stop doing it. And I don't know if the Niners just started showing different looks, and to me it seemed like we were playing a little closer to the line. We're stacking the box a bit more, so that may have played into it, and maybe they changed their strategy up, but they probably could have kept running it and might have been able to squeeze it out. I don't know. It's hard to say.
What could have, should have. Yeah, those 2 4th downs didn't help either. Big stops from San Fran.
Yeah, those were huge, and at least one of them was a fairly catchable ball. It just got dropped. So we once again kind of got bailed out. Like the football gods were on our side this time. I guess.
Justice, baby.
Yeah, and then like I said, the Niners just stuck to what they did best. I mean, outside that deep bomb to Ayuk, I mean, we didn't take a huge amount of shots. We just kept running the ball, kept playing that intermediate portion of the field, hitting Debo over the middle to get some yards, and it worked. And we ended up marching down and ended at 34-31.
Yeah,
It was insane.
Yeah, well, I went back and looked at a good amount of the San Fran second half, and it's kind of like even the chunk plays are like short throws over the middle and then just picking up like crazy amount of yak. That one to Kittle especially. And if it wasn't that, it was Purdy and his legs making some plays. A couple of them were just kind of like nothing downfield, go, and a couple of them were like pressure in his face, like got to do something. And he, I think it was 3 of them in the second half where he took off at like 10 yards a pop, and just kept the drives going, got points on the board, like absolutely huge, massive plays.
Yeah, Purdy was 5 rushes for 48 yards overall in a day, which is pretty good for a guy who you would not expect it of at all.
Yeah, for sure.
He was a little disappointed in Lamar earlier in the day and decided to show him how it's done.
I mean, the good quarterbacks can do that. You don't have to have that crazy ability just to know, like, hey, the entire defense has their backs turned to me. I can, go and scamper for a few yards. Well,
and even some of them, he straight up just tossed the pressure, like was able to just slip right out of it, which was, I know he's capable of.
There's a guy in his face, and
I know he's capable of, but like people don't think about it. Like he's done that a couple times throughout the season, but rarely does he like sprint downfield for 15 yards or something like that. Usually he's just gets out of there, keeps his eyes downfield, and throws it away or throws it to somebody who's wide open all of a sudden.
Right.
So I mean, good on him to just take off and just keep the game alive. Like maybe there was a receiver he could have thrown it to, but he trusted it himself, and that's exciting to see. Like he I'm saying it all season. It feels like every week he's learning a bit more. He's getting a little better. He's getting a little more confident. And while the first half was shaky, like when the chips were down, like he showed up and he did what needed to be done. And hey, that's the kind of quarterback I want going in the Super Bowl against the freaking Chiefs dynasty that we're up against.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be cheering for him. That'd be a more fun story than Mahomes is 4th or 5th, or I don't even know. I've lost count.
Be his
Third.
third, but
Yeah.
I know
Yeah,
a lot
turns
of the
out-
talk is Purdy going to be the Eli to
Yeah.
the Mahomes is Brady.
Yes, we can
You
only
know,
hope.
I'm here for it.
Yep.
If there's a helmet catch involved too,
If that's not football justice, again, I don't know what is. Like that's exclamation point right there.
yeah.
Well, that's awesome. That's again a heck of a game. I was able to catch kind of like the highlights and kind of the box score of like what ended up, and just again not expecting the 49ers to come out flat. Like that just doesn't seem like, I don't know. I feel like there's too much talent on that team for that to happen. And then I guess what is not shocking is for them to just kind of say like, wait a second, like look at what we've done all season, and then come back out and then score 27 points or whatever they scored.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. After the season, I would still like to explore a new DC, just because while it's clear that he can make a halftime adjustment to get us to be able to stop the run better and spread more horizontally, we shouldn't go a whole half without being able to do it at all. Especially because this is like the same roster from the last 2-3 years largely, and
Sure.
we've been number 2 at worst. So it's a little concerning. So we'll see how the Super Bowl shakes out, of course. But if Bill Belichick's available, bring him in as DC if he's looking for a gap year.
I think that's gonna work out for you yet, but I wish you all the best.
It would be cool. Be a cool
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, and I don't
DC
know.
spot's a tough one because it seems like a couple good ones on the move. Some coaching changes and whatnot. So there may not be a lot of really good candidates out there. So.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe it's like some 4D chess thing from Wilkes, and that he'll like just let them have those for the first half before clamping down, and then they're completely off their game in the second half, and they didn't plan for any halftime adjustments, and who knows? I doubt it, but you never know.
Kind of doubt it. Probably don't want to do that against Mahomes and the Chiefs either.
No, not in
Probably
a one and done
not.
scenario.
Might not be the best. Yeah. What do you make of all the Chase Young noise the last couple of days? You seen any of that?
Yeah, and I have seen
What is it? Wait,
the
what's the
plays they're
noise?
talking about. So, at least in the first half, it was evident that Chase Young was not putting in effort, or hardly any effort.
Taking
The one,
a lot of plays off, a lot of early downs.
yeah, one of the big ones was the Jahmyr Gibbs touchdown run. Chase had like a clear line to like get to him and stop him, and he was clearly just like jogging towards him as opposed to like sprinting to try and make the tackle. I don't know if there was like a business decision or something. I have no idea, but and I haven't noticed it a lot throughout the season. I mean, he hasn't been as impactful as he was when he first came in, but I know we have a massive D-line rotation going all the time, so I didn't think too much of it. But it was evident that he was phoning it in on a few plays in the biggest game of the season so far, so that's a little concerning.
Yeah, that's kind of regular season's one thing, but if you're doing that in the semis, like I don't know. When you mentioned Burrell and those guys, it's like, yeah, I wonder if depth chart might get swapped around for the final game, or we get some more of the
Or Randy
Butler
Gregory
in New
or-
England.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those weird situations, people getting
And
benched
again,
and all that.
no injuries reported or any.
From Chase Young, none at all. He's been healthy since we picked him up, so I don't think he's even been dinged up that I've heard of. So yeah, I'm not crazy about it. I mean, if he just like hates playing the run or something, and that's it, I guess, and just put him in on third down passing situations if that's all he cares about, fine. But I mean, he's a big, hyper athletic dude. It
Yeah.
seems like an absolute waste to just be out there jogging when it's your job to set the edge.
Interesting.
And I wonder
Weird
if Detroit
spot.
saw something and that's why they ran it at him. Like, who knows?
It could be. I mean, if you have to run, yeah, I mean, you got to run it at someone on that line. If you're gonna pick someone, maybe, yeah, something to watch for.
I will say again, kind of having played the game for a while, like it's I will note it is interesting that like I have played alongside some very talented dudes, some guys that got cut from the Falcons, and it was very, like they're lazy. Like they are legitimate. Like it's so strange because like they are very athletic, and the ball snaps, and they'll kind of like put their hands out and make contact with the lineman, and that's it. They're done with that for that play. Like in their mind, they've already decided that they don't want to, and so yeah. So I mean, I don't think that's it's interesting that that's still like a trait that like people have to deal with in some way, shape, or form, right? And so again, right, for someone who is as hyper athletic as Chase Young is, I mean, Commanders were able to kind of let him walk. They're like, all right, this is your problem now, you know. So I don't know. I do think though that's going to. I feel like, especially in like just that locker room, right? Like I feel like that's where you'd want to be. Like you're with a bunch of, right. He's used to being the top dog no matter where he goes,
Right.
And now he's like number 4 on the depth chart, right? So right, so
Yep.
there is kind of like you're not used to having to fight for your bone, I guess in this particular scenario. Now again, I could be wrong, but right, like he just kind of and he was the guy for the command, and now he's just part of this monstrosity of this D line that you're able to just have, starters and on just in rotation all the time, which is insane. So yeah, I don't know, kind of interesting. I had not heard that, and that's something that I would definitely like to try and follow. As I don't like. There's no way that you're not going to be. I say you're not going to be lazy, but remember the Cam Newton play in the Super Bowl, right? Like, hello,
I mean, a little
like,
overblown,
it
but yeah,
happens.
yeah.
It
He made a business
happens.
decision, but probably like regretted it immediately. He's like, oh crap.
Oh no, 100 million people just watched me do this. Whoops.
Yeah. And if I'm Bosa, because apparently Bosa and Young are best friends. They were in college together pretty much their whole time. If I'm Bosa, I'm pissed. If like we're watching film and I see my best friend just phoning it in the championship game, it's like, yo, dude, what the fuck
is
going
wrong
on?
with you?
Yeah. But to that point, I had a thought. Just like they talk about those like high motor guys like Max Crosby and whatnot, and it stands out and it's easy to see, and it's just so funny to me that like all they have to do is put in effort and it stands out. Like just be that weirdo that chases down the backside of screenplays and jumps on the pile, and like that's all he does. But yeah, I guess some of these guys are so used to being, like you said, being the top dog and not having to work for it and being able to phone it in and getting away with it, and it gets weird because like it's easier to sit here and say, yeah, dog, you make $20 million a year and this is the fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They're so used to it, it's different world.
Yes, I mean maybe just like in everything else, to some people it's just a job. Like, yeah, I like put in a lot of work to get here, but it's just a job. Like I'm not trying to kill myself over it. Who knows? And it's funny because like the JT O'Sullivan points out like Debo's lack of effort in a lot of his breakdowns of his Purdy film.
Does he?
Yeah, like on the sprint options, or not the sprint options, like the sprint motions that have become popular. Whenever Debo does it, he's like, Debo's just kind of jogging through that motion. Why isn't he not like sprinting full out? And
he doesn't like the Niners, does he?
No. So there's some, he played for us. He should love us, right? The criticism's fair, but at the same time, I think Debo is gaming it a little bit in the sense that like, and it's something that other receivers have definitely done, where like you don't go full speed unless you absolutely have to, like so that the DB like misinterprets your speed and you can blow by them, right? If they're reading your speed off the bat, like that's they're able to adjust better. Whereas if you can just save a
JT
gear.
has talked about that, and some of his things were like, they won't go full speed on their routes to, exactly. So
I don't see why you would go full speed on the motion if you have the same mindset of you don't want to give the DB an edge, knowing how fast
you know the play,
ball.
where the ball's going.
Yeah. But I don't think that quite works at the end.
Right, yeah, that's kind of the difference. But no, for JT, like his criticisms are valid from what I hear, but he really likes to pile them on, it seems, and kind of nitpicking at some things that maybe other people aren't as worried about. But
yeah, it probably comes from a perspective of actually having played the game at that level and being a little more nitpicky.
Yeah, I guess to get off topic, it's funny because like he coaches like his kids. Like you got to see that like, middle school football is probably pretty bad. So like you gotta surely you can understand. There's I don't know, but it's so funny that he still holds that like super high level of everything. And gets mad at every motion, every shit. Every time CMC's not on the line of scrimmage, he loses his mind. I'm sure you've seen it. It's funny.
Oh yeah, and I mean, if he was coaching at the highest level, I think that's certainly an attitude I'd like to have in a coach, just getting on your guys to put in the effort.
Yeah.
It's funny when he's literally armchair quarterbacking it. It's funny. So, I mean, Niners come out. Obviously, the Packers kind of went a similar way. They didn't really lead until towards the end. Same thing goes to the Lions. So, I mean, Niners coming out of these games battle tested. I mean, if those two games weren't wake up calls or rust knockers or preparation, whatever you want to call it, I don't know what was. So, I feel pretty good about our preparation levels going in.
How much of this roster is returning from when the Chiefs game was? 4 years ago?
Yeah, it was 2019, the 2019 season.
2020 Super Bowl. So
Right.
Just can't be a whole lot of players coming back then.
Not a lot, actually. It was way less than I thought it would be. I saw an article about it. Actually, I think I might have taken a note of it. Off the top of my head, though, let's see here. No, that's more stats from the game. That's not as relevant. All right. So yeah, off the top of my head, it was Debo and Bosa's rookie years. Of course, Kittle was there. As far as offense, I think that's it. We didn't have Ayuk yet.
Juszczyk?
Yeah, Juszczyk. Yeah, sorry. He was going to be Super Bowl MVP if we had won. I stand by that. He was having a heck of a game. Wonder if they'll use him again. But yeah, I think those, because our whole O-line is turned over. Obviously Purdy. We didn't have Jauan Jennings yet, I don't think. I know we wouldn't have had Jauan Jennings. I think he's still technically on his rookie deal right now. Yeah, so offensively that's it, and defensively we had Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, and Eric Armstead, and of course Bosa. I think that was it. So only like 8 dudes returning from which significant in 4 years having 8 of the same guys. That's almost a whole side of a ball, but.
Something, yeah.
New kicker.
I mean, Chiefs probably
new punter.
pretty similar, honestly.
Yeah, right. I mean, they got Mahomes and Kelsey and probably some O-linemen, Chris Jones.
Yeah, Chris Jones. Yeah, there's probably a few of those guys. But all in all, I would think 4 years is a lot in the NFL. There's a lot of turnover.
Yeah.
So it's it's been it's been some turnover, but hey, we got our guys. Still got a good squad despite some turnover. We finding gems all over in the draft and free agency and all that fun stuff. So, and technically this is Hargrave's second Super Bowl too. So we do have some Super Bowl experience.
There you go.
That's true.
Yeah.
And Randy Gregory too, I believe, also has Super Bowl experience.
Wow!
Because he was with the Broncos, right?
Just saving him for last, huh?
That's so funny.
So yeah, we got some mixed in there. We'll be all right.
Yeah, no, I wasn't worried. I was just kind of curious, because it's like, the teams just played, but yeah, it's a lot of these are different teams.
Yeah, and Purdy is decidedly, I think it's very clear, decidedly not Garoppolo. And Shanahan clearly has far more trust in him as a pass thrower than he ever did Garoppolo.
Poor Jimmy G.
Yeah,
Jimmy will be fine. He's rich and dangerously handsome.
He's got some buddies. He's got some friends in Vegas. He'll be okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
He'll figure it out.
I feel bad. I wonder what's going to happen to him this year. Maybe get into that in some Raiders news. But since we're covering games, want to get into the other one right quick? For
sure. I mean, yeah. Here's like 1,000-foot view of what that game was. Baltimore screwed up. I mean, they weren't playing a crisp game. Again, I was not able to watch this game in its entirety, and this is just from highlights from what I was able to see. but they were unable to some weird ball handling issues, interception, a bunch of penalties, and I mean they took 4 sacks. Like they just played, unfortunately, a sloppy game on all facets of the ball, and that's when you're going against the Chiefs. I mean, again, shout out to it being such a low scoring game, but you can't, right? You can have a couple turnovers, right? You can have and just not, but you can't be losing in all facets of the game, and that's at least how it looked like to me.
I mean, I will say their defense shaky in the first half, but completely shut the Chiefs out in the second half. It was kind of like watching, you know what it was like, John? It was like watching a Steelers game. The defense held the Chiefs to 17 points. The offense could do nothing.
Yeah, welcome to the AFC North football, baby.
Now I'm mad that like the Steelers didn't make it to the championship game or play the Ravens in the playoffs just to see what that would have looked like.
Yeah, we get to see them twice a year, usually 3 times a year. Maybe next year we'll get it. Now this one I kind of honed in on Baltimore's offense just because I'm sure I'll be taking a look at the Chiefs again some more in the coming week, if not reading about it, all the Super Bowl previews. But I was just trying to figure out what went wrong for that team. We're trying to like they started the game with a 3 and out, and then it was touchdown. 2 long drives from Kansas City and a very quick answer from Baltimore. And I think that's what most people are expecting. I was like, oh shit, buckle up, here we go. And then that was it for the entire day. And then after that, and those poor guys. I feel like the Ravens offense too. Like they came prepared, and they just one drive they'd come out and like run the ball on first down, didn't get anywhere, and then like try to pick up a couple chunk plays on second and third, no dice. They come back to the next drive, first play, throw the ball, pick up 6 yards. Okay, great. Second and 4, shot play, incomplete. Great, we got the manageable 3rd and 4, also incomplete to Odell Beckham. Like it was just one of those days. Like the screens were getting blown up. Like the O-line wasn't kind of holding up their end of the bargain. And I feel like Lamar Jackson, like I feel bad for the guy because he was like caught in this pickle of kind of, okay, passing's more efficient, sure. But he's also probably the most unique special quarterback in the game, apart from maybe Vic and some of those guys. And he's, we were talking about Purdy and their ability to kind of take off down the field. Like that's great. A lot of quarterbacks can do that. Obviously he's different. Jackson is. So towards the end of the game, I think he started realizing it, and the coaches kind of telling him like, hey, stop trying to sit in the pocket and look. Just start taking off and doing that, but it felt like too little, too late. So that poor team just trying to it felt like you were clearly could see them trying to convert to a more traditional pass offense, and it wasn't quite there. And then it was kind of do you go back and do your old stuff? Like they're doing the old school, that pistol with the fullback to the sidecar, like Kaepernick 15 years ago. They're running those old school counter option, like cracks me up. I loved it, but I just feel like they're just pulling out every trick they had in the book, and nothing was really sustaining their drives. I just could not execute. So unfortunate. I feel like that team really needs to go back and find a second receiver. Flowers was getting it done. Aguilar and Beckham as a second and third options were not.
They did nothing.
No, I think late in the game Beckham came on, but once again, too little, too late, and definitely not enough.
Yeah, they feel like possession type receivers, but they were not getting open. They could not really do a lot of work against the Kansas City defense, and that really killed the entire Ravens kind of game plan. Not having Andrews there and likely making some rookie mistakes. And then Flowers, he had a hell of a game, but obviously his 2 mistakes in the second half, drawing that taunting penalty after the big play, and then obviously the fumble, 7 or 14 point swing, depending on how you look at it, like massive.
It was like the goofiest little series there too. Like catches a bomb, like puts him at the 10-yard
play,
line. Yeah.
And gets him the 15 yards for being a dumbass.
And then immediately gains that 15 yards back, like on the next play.
Yeah. A lot of what ifs there, but just couldn't get it done. And then towards the end of the game, trying to make things happen, and got the pick and the fumble too late, couldn't get the onsides, and that was all she wrote. So I don't know, like fun season from a very far point of view, from my observation, but I don't know.
The one stat that I kept seeing pop up since the game is the Ravens had 6 runs to their running backs. 6 all game. In a game that was never much more than 2 scores and was 1 score for a lot of it. 6. That's it.
Sounds about right.
And Lamar Jackson, I think, only had 2 or 3 actually designed runs, and the rest were scrambles. So
Yeah, I think
they had a
6.
total of 9 designed run plays.
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah,
Interesting.
it was 58 plays total for the Ravens offense that whole day. 22 minutes time of possession to 38 for KC. Like it was very one-sided. The KC drives are a lot longer, more sustained. And then like you said, I also I think I bet the Jackson over rushing attempts because I figured the Spagnuolo's defense, they're just going to force the give over and over on those option runs. That's what they love to do, and that's why I think Gus Edwards and those guys had such a low carry count. They're going to make him keep it. But yeah, also like I said, they only had I think it was 6 scrambles to three option runs for Jackson, so it came up just short of that in total. But
yeah, it's so weird to just watch a team just forget completely their identity, like in the biggest game. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. They're a big running team, and I feel like they just didn't do it, especially because the Chiefs aren't the best run defense there is. Anyways, they're middle of the pack at best, I think.
How much are they a running team? That's what I wonder, because the whole thing is they brought in the new OC and they got rid of Roman and they want to be a pass first offense and Lamar and this and that. And it's and I feel like that was their strength this year too. Is they did a lot more pocket passing, a lot more traditional attack.
I mean, Lamar still had almost 900 yards rushing on the season. He was their lead rusher. So the rushing's still a big part of what they do.
Or at least him rushing is a big part of what they do.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, it was a weird one. I feel bad because it's kind of just, like I said, they try to hit him with every answer they had, like a different horizontal screens, deep attack, and just none of it was working. None of it was clicking. So it's not like they had an answer and they couldn't find it. It was kind of just nothing wanted to get there. So
yeah, and it seems like the Chiefs have at least, I don't know that it started much in towards the end of the regular season. Maybe it did, but at least in this playoffs have kind of changed their philosophy a little bit. They're way more patient of an offense. They're running the ball more than they have, it seems. They're just leaning on Pacheco, who's a very good running back, and they have a good O-line to make him work. It seems they're kind of settling into what they needed to be doing pretty much all season to be dominant, for lack of a better term, and letting the defense do work, because their defense is quite good.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how they've almost settled into what I think everyone was kind of expecting, where it's Kelsey got 10 or 11 targets, almost all of them in the first half. He's kind of their main guy, especially in the past game. MVS over the top once or twice just to keep the defense honest, and then just running the ball down their throat. I don't know. It seems so simple, but it was working.
And who says the run game is dead? Look, we've got 2 very good rushing teams going to the Super Bowl.
Pay running backs.
Balanced football works, passing, running, defense, special team. Well, that's kind of overrated, but
whoa, easy there.
Oh, well, for the Niners at least it seems.
Yeah, we don't. Who needs special teams? We're only 24th in the league, whatever.
That's funny.
As long as you're not the OA Chargers.
Oh boy.
But yeah, that was something. Enjoyable game, despite the huge swing in offensive explosion to defense. After that 4th possession, but I had a lot of fun. Wouldn't mind the Super Bowl like that. A lot of punts, a lot of turnovers.
Sure. I mean, again, I think that the weekend of games, I was not able to really follow. Was very you got the high flying offensive game. You've got kind of a low scoring grinder of a game. This is I don't know. That's fun. That's both games were very close. It didn't seem like it in the first half of the Niners game. Again, they clawed back. I think, this was a weekend of the best teams showing why they were the best teams, and I feel like that made for some really, really entertaining football.
Yeah, that was my gut reaction to it. It was maybe not the teams I wanted to see in the Super Bowl, but everyone's saying obviously the best teams are there. The game will still be a lot of fun. Maybe we risk Mahomes winning this 3rd, and that'll be sad. But apart from that, really good playoffs all in all, and I think we're set up really well for a good Super Bowl.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen? Not going to be a good Super Bowl?
Not going to happen. No. Mahomes is not going to get
getting his 3rd. Yeah.
No.
Calling it already.
No, that's not football justice.
No.
And I say that knowing that I now I would have to share the Super Bowl title with
That's right.
San Fran.
That's right.
Yep.
And I would be, again, this was a weird weekend of football. I was actively rooting for the Ravens, first time in my life. And I will be ready to share that crown for what Pittsburgh likes to hang their hat on for having the most amount of Super Bowls. Just so that does not happen.
Look, we'd only be
Pittsburgh
tying.
made it happen. They got it
We would be
started,
tying. Yeah.
Speaking of Pittsburgh, anything going on? Pittsburgh news?
Well, there was a slight modification to our coaching staff in which we have hired an offensive coordinator, one Arthur Smith from Atlanta. So I've got to see a little bit of him up close. And boy, oh boy, is this going to be interesting. I guess kind of like what stood out is kind of looking at, right, Arthur Smith didn't have a great tenure in Atlanta, but I don't think he had a terrible time in the sense that what that roster was, just like since I've been here, because I do live here, like following the team, I just never felt like they just had like a really good, like just a solid roster. Like there's just kind of holes all over the place, like just haven't. And again, I don't follow the team well enough to kind of know like their cap situation and kind of what was going on, to kind of get them there. But a couple things that I guess really, I don't want to say really worry me, but I'm just not sure what Pittsburgh is going to be a incredibly different offense next season because of him, right? He should, or it should. You're bringing in someone with different coaching philosophies, different ways of looking at the game, things like that. But on paper, for example, Pittsburgh was like eighth in the league in 11 personnel, and want to guess where Atlanta was in their 11 personnel usage?
I have no idea.
32nd at the very bottom.
Jeez.
Wow.
So there was a different. So we were in 11 personnel 74% of the time. Atlanta used that approximately 22% of the time. So we have 56% of our plays. I have no idea how we're gonna I don't know what we're gonna do. So that's going to be really.
Tight end.
So that's right. Like it's going to be really interesting. And then so from some research is that the Arthur doesn't really use, I guess, a whole lot of the slot receiver. And I found that to be kind of interesting. Much more finding, having two backs on the field, having a true fullback on the field, things of that nature. So while we've tried to, under a kind of like Matt Canada, have this thing where we have some motion to kind of get things moving, we end up not touching any player in the middle of the field and basically trying to bomb it into outside the numbers and hoping that our wide receivers have somehow generated enough space and enough confusion to kind of make that happen. That what we have been trying to do and what our roster has been built to do for the next for the last 3 years, it's just going to get flipped on its head. So I think we need it though. I'm not against it. I think our offensive numbers under Matt Canada have shown that our roster, the personnel or maybe how it was implemented or insert whatever, it wasn't working, right? Everyone can agree that it was not working, and so I'm just not sure if we have enough. I think we do have enough in at various skilled positions to be able to make a transfer into this new look. But I am worried that once again we're going to have to be running things pretty vanilla until everybody kind of gets off up to speed, and because I don't think it's going to be pretty drastic, and we'll see what that translates to.
Yeah, so instead of blowing up your team or whatever, you're just blowing up the offensive playbook. That sounds like it's
that's exactly it. Yeah,
which not a bad start, I guess. That's the only way to be sure what players you have are worth anything, with a lot of them coming close to contract times, or at least trying to assess if you need to start drafting or whatever.
Yep.
So do you think this decision of Arthur Smith and his love for 12 and 21, is that reflecting on like the current receiver room? Like, are they just saying like, these guys suck, we'd rather just get tight ends out there, and like, or maybe it better fits the kind of like the especially the non-skill position players?
Well, I mean, I don't think, I wouldn't say that. I do think that we do have, again, we drafted in the second round of Pat Fryermuth, and he was supposed to be like, look at the Lions and what Sam Laporte, like you're able to use like a tight end, and Matt Canada was just unable to get this guy to be effective and into this offense. So I don't think that, again, I think George Pickens is still a stud. I think, he's going to continue to mature. Deontay Johnson, I think, has been a guy for us. And while, he has not had these gaudy stats, I mean, I think he's still a very good wide receiver. So I don't necessarily think that our entire wide receiver room is bad, but I think we have other tools in the tool shed that could get some more love by utilizing some different personnel, is how I take it.
Yeah, it'd be kind of bonkers to hire a coach purely off your current personnel, given how quickly they change. But yeah, be a crazy one. So that was kind of the one coaching spot. Are you still feeling like other offensive assistants? Is that the idea, like a quarterback's coach and that sort of thing, or is that all basically done now for Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I mean, nothing too crazy that has moved around to kind of like pin the needle of like, oh, like what's this going to look like? So I'm not outside of nothing for me or that I have seen has been announced in terms of like who Arthur Smith is going to kind of be dubbing into different roles and things like that. So I don't have any insights as to like, who's going to be, overlooking, like who's his team that he's going to bring in and what that is going to be. I would like to see, though, once again, reminder that this is an outside the organization hire, which we haven't seen since like Todd Haley. And so it's
been a minute. Yeah.
It's been a little bit. So let's see what we're able to do and what we're able to work with who Arthur Smith is able to kind of bring in and kind of make stuff happen.
Well, that's pretty exciting for you guys. Hopefully it can bring some. He was in Tennessee, right, before Atlanta?
Yes.
Correct.
Responsible for some of their run game. Hopefully we can get that Derrick Henry type magic going. It'd be a lot of fun to see.
I think that does also, like, again, we do have a pretty good 1-2 punch at the running back position. And I think, from what we've drafted in our offensive line, Najee is this big bruising kind of back. So he's not King Henry. But I could see where you could take some philosophies that were utilized. Hopefully we continue to build off of our offensive line from this season. Maybe through the draft, maybe replace our center, even though there's no really good centers out there right now, which is unfortunate. I don't have it in front of me, but I think I read somewhere our center, like PFF graded like the worst center in the league.
Oh, jeez.
Nice.
I'm not. I think I read that somewhere. I'm not 100. No, but so anyway, unfortunately, there's no like top dollar like free agent centers available, and so I think we're going to be stuck with them for another year. So and then draft someone.
Out of 36.
What was it?
29th out of 36.
It's not great.
It's not great.
Not
no,
great.
Tough one.
Not great.
Surprised there's only 36 on there. I mean, not a lot of.
Their qualifying whatevers are weird.
Sure.
Not what you'd expect, but.
So yeah, so that's I can certainly see where we have some resemblance to what that Tennessee team is going to. Kind of the joke going into this season was Pittsburgh was trying to be the San Fran offense, and we were afraid that they were going to end up as the Tennessee offense, and it ended up being even worse than that. And so I do think now, I guess we are going to, our goal is now going to be the the Tennessee offense.
Gee.
Um,
well, yeah, that's hey, the bar is
Just that one
technically
good year.
higher.
Was it 2019, 2018?
Yeah,
Tannehill, play action, Henry. Like, yeah, that was high flying.
Yeah, weren't they the 1 seed? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
it could happen.
hating.
It could happen.
could happen.
Well, it must be nice having an offensive coordinator on the payroll. The
Tell me
Raiders
about
search
your
is
tell me about your woes.
ongoing. Yeah, I wouldn't say, well, maybe some woes. It's kind of speculation more than anything. But yeah, obviously Pierce is signed. Tom Telesco was signed last week. I just wanted to mention he's been in the Chargers the last 10 years, not the 10 before that. I got mixed up. So very much the Herbert and everything is kind of the GM years he's been responsible for. So picked up some great players. I don't know why the team sucks, but hopefully it's not his fault. Offensive coordinator, they've interviewed a whole bunch of people. I don't think all of them are super public, but like confirmed. Cliff Kingsbury, they brought in Mike Sullivan, Luke. I don't even know.
Oh, they actually got Cliff as their coordinator.
No, they interviewed him.
Oh, interviewed. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
so I haven't announced anybody yet, but yeah, him, Alex Van Pelt. They've been bringing in a bunch of people. And then at one point they named Scott Turner, Norv Turner's kid, pass game coordinator.
Interesting.
Put it up on the Raiders website and everything, done deal, and then took it down. And it turns out he's interviewing for like OC in New England and some other spots too, which is really weird. That one, they announced that and take it down, but two, that they're
Right.
announcing the assistant positions before they announce the coordinator position. Because usually I think you'd hire the coordinator and the coordinator hires his assistants. Not the other
Yeah,
way
yeah,
around.
yeah.
It's very bizarre that they do that. So it's like, did they have someone lined up and it fell through and maybe he got sniped or he went somewhere else, or I don't really know what that's all about, but the search is ongoing. That's basically where they're at. A lot of names. I don't know if I have a wish list really. I don't know if Kingsbury's quite it in the NFL. But that's basically it as far as the news goes. Kind of waiting to see how that shakes out. A lot of people are thinking Champ Kelly or Chad Kelly potentially coming back to the NFL.
Oh, no.
Really?
Chad was the interim GM, and so Florio's trying to link Chip Kelly. I don't know if I believe it, but that's what the media does.
Okay.
Yeah. And then yesterday, someone was trying to, I think it was Florio again, was trying to connect the dots and say the Raiders are going to trade for Fields. That's going to be the quarterback solution, which
Oh, boy.
I don't think that wouldn't make a lot of sense to me either.
No.
like we say every offseason, all these quarterback trades when they're tagged and whatnot, it's kind of like the price to give up the draft capital and to pay a quarterback a long-term extension just makes no sense. And that's for like a Lamar Jackson, let alone a Fields type quarterback. Yeah,
Is it time for Fields to get paid already?
This is his fourth, right?
No, this is his third year. It just ended, so yeah, he couldn't sign an
The
extension.
upcoming,
now.
yeah,
he's
that's-
going into his
Mhm.
fourth. So
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's coming up quick. But this concludes your Raiders news segment. It's still pretty slow. Probably waiting for the free agency to roll around.
Fields has also been pegged. Some folks have also wanted him to go to Pittsburgh as well. That's another conversation.
He is an exciting quarterback. I will say that. A lot of fans that want exciting quarterbacks and nothing else.
I feel like Fields is kind of just another Kaepernick, like just a hyper athletic QB with
Yes.
not a whole lot of QB skills.
Kind of. I mean, I won't say I've studied him, but he kind of seems that way. Yeah.
That's
Sure.
the vibe I get. Yeah, able to make crazy explosive plays with his legs and not much else. And the occasional deep bomb downfield to Moore or something like that's the vibe I get.
Exciting, but not as consistent, probably.
Right. Which if you're trying to rebuild a franchise, I mean maybe that's the route you want to go for excitement while you figure out the future. But
I mean, not when you spent your second round pick on one guy last year, and then you still got Garoppolo on the books this year, and then I don't know what they're going to do exactly, but yeah, I just thought that was fun. I saw that headline, I was like, I don't know about that.
What is Garoppolo getting paid this year?
It's like 23, 25. It's not a ton.
Yeah,
It's not like prohibitively going to like nuke the team, but it's not ideal, obviously.
It's too much for a backup, but not a crazy amount for a starter. Like it's a value starter, like
Yeah.
overpriced backup.
My hunch is they're probably just going to cut him and just eat the money, which sucks. But I'll get into that once the Super Bowl's over. We'll have some more time. Yeah. Pro Bowl's coming up this week, in fact.
Pro Bowl
Yeah, you guys
coming
are
up.
The Pro Bowl games. All right, correction.
Pro Bowl. So not only the Pro Bowl games, which we've been getting, but we get that and the flag thing.
Yeah, the flag football
2
game.
nights of Pro Bowl.
Wait, is that when is that? Is that that's not
Yeah.
tonight.
So the skills thing will be Thursday today when we're recording, and then like there's a flag game on Sunday as well.
Oh, that's when the flag game is.
Yeah,
Now, do they play Olympic rules flag football? Because I feel like they
that's a
should.
good question.
I don't think they do, but it would make way more sense if they did.
It's probably time to start if they haven't, because it's what 2028 is LA.
Yeah, the next Olympics, when it comes to the U.S., they're going to
We'll
have
have
it.
flag there. So at the same time, I think we're probably good enough. No matter what, we don't really need to practice.
Yeah.
I don't care who we send. We're probably gonna win.
I just want to see Josh Allen play flag football and just wreck him.
That would be amazing. He's gonna be too old by then. Oh.
He'll be perfect. Too old. He won't care as much about his NFL career. He's like, I'll go play flag football.
Yeah.
Screw training camp.
Would be sweet, but yeah, it's I'm sure I'll check it. I don't know how excited I am. I think they're doing the skills thing live this year, which is interesting.
They didn't do it live in years past? I thought they threw it up on ESPN or something.
No, the skills have always been pre-recorded.
Oh, really?
Like the year I went, it's like an hour-long TV block, and it took them 4.5 hours to shoot. Like it was fucking miserable. So now they're doing it live. It's kind of like, okay, cool, that would be nice. The hour and a half, just get through all their nonsense. Hopefully, they've got to cut between the stations or whatever they got to do quicker now. So,
yep,
I'm interested.
All right, we'll have to wrap this up and tune that in so we can give our recap on it. Oh my god!
Stay tuned.
Yeah, I mean, I usually just end up watching them.
Go straight to Twitch.
Yeah, right. I usually end up watching them just like on YouTube or something after the fact. I mean, they're entertaining. They're far more entertaining than whatever the Pro Bowl was before. I'll say that much. But
yes,
not exactly must see TV at the same time.
Yeah, I think the first one I was really gung ho on, and once I kind of saw what it was, I'm like, okay, they did a decent job, but it's like it's the same thing every year. Kick tack toe and dodgeball and yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you would improve it, change it, make it like more must see. I think just the nature of the game, it's not really possible.
Wait, can I tell you what games are being played tonight? Did you guys see this? The skills challenge?
I haven't seen this year's lineup. I have to imagine they're similar, but
well, okay, so I'm just going to read them out to you. The precision passing by hitting targets.
Yeah.
Yep.
Staple, right? Not a big deal. The best catch.
Standard.
Yeah, right. Nothing too crazy.
It's like their dunk contest wannabe.
Yeah. Yep. So this one I had no idea. The closest to the pin, it's a golf accuracy competition.
I did hear about this.
I did not know anything about that. They have to drive the golf ball as close to a hole as possible. Winners will get 3 points for their conference. Then the high stakes competition. Starting off with a football in hand, each player will attempt to catch punts from a jugs machine. Each player that succeeds in catching the football without dropping others. So again, I think they keep having to hold the ball.
They did this last year.
It's the camp challenge. You got to have like 19. Yeah.
Yep.
Catch as many balls as you can.
Then they have dodgeball, again, new classic. And a new skill will allow long snappers and centers to showcase their skills by snapping balls at targets of various sizes and point values.
Now that is must-see TV.
We need snap back toe.
So there you go. If you were not able to catch it and you catch our podcast instead, you will at least know what's going to be there.
That's right. You'll know what's worth checking out on YouTube.
Hopefully there's something good, but that's all I've really seen news-wise.
I will say, Pro Bowl. One way that they could make it interesting is none of you have to play a Pro Bowl game of sorts, but you have to play it completely out of position. Like Lamar has to line up at wide receiver or defensive end or something goofy, right?
Yeah, that could be fun.
Flip sides of the field. All the offensive players have to play defense. All defensive players have to play offense. I would tune in for that at least 1 year.
That one would be even better. I like that idea.
Even for flag, yeah, I'd be more interested in that than the regular one.
Yeah, I don't know, flag football. Yeah.
Is it better than nothing? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. All right, well that wraps up kind of around the league. Again, anything I know I kind of went into my coaching stuff. I mean, any other coaching stuff that you want to Dan Quinn to Washington, kind of exciting.
Yeah, I think it's we got most of them last week, but yeah, he's poor Cowboys. It's like they almost had
Cowboys.
something sustainable going. I'm the only one that feels bad for them.
Come
I
on.
don't feel bad for the Cowboys ever.
Number one defense in the league under Dan Quinn, 2021 to 2023. They were doing some good things there, and now they're gonna have to figure something else out.
Would you see Parsons' comment about their loss to Green Bay?
He was complaining about his other linebacker or something, wasn't he?
He said something along the lines of like, "Oh, we just got to get the right guys in here, and then we'll be able to win." It's like, dude, yeah.
Oh, he said we didn't bring anybody in
Yeah.
this year. He was mad about their free agency or something.
They have like 9 All Pros. Like, how many All Pros do you need to actually go to a Super Bowl? I mean, the Niners have 7, but whatever. Like, we're not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Quinn to the Commanders. I don't know. It seems like it definitely seems like he wasn't their first choice. I feel like they definitely wanted Ben Johnson, but
Right, yeah, he ended up staying.
so is Quinn just like a stopgap hire until they can get the guy they really want, or do they actually have faith in it? I mean, I feel like stopgap has been the name of the game for the Commanders for the last like 12 years, but
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm sure they would prefer to find their guy. Quinn's had didn't he coach Atlanta?
yeah, he
While
was
back?
Atlanta when
Yep.
they went to the Super Bowl. That was him.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I mean he's got some experience then, obviously.
Yep.
Been around. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Hard to judge a lot of these coaching hires, especially if it's not my team and I don't know them super well, but I think he could be the guy.
I think it could be the guy.
He certainly knows how to get a team prepared. I mean, the Falcons fell off at the Super Bowl. So many teams fall right off after the Super Bowl. I don't know how much you can blame Quinn exactly, but
Yeah.
Sure.
But I mean, is he gonna be much better than Rivera? Is he gonna turn that roster? I don't know. It's a tough job.
yeah.
Tough task.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out for them. I mean, they did. The Commanders did poach their GM from our scouting pool in San Francisco, and the guy who's supposedly responsible for a lot of our late round draft picks, which, as you know, are generally all studs and all pros and like all sorts of fun stuff there. Complete whiffs in the first rounds, but everything after that turns out pretty good. So, I mean, hopefully they can build something there. That could be fun to watch.
Yep.
Who they picked up? Was it Seahawks? Went with Baltimore's defensive coordinator.
McDonald.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah. I like keeping the defensive tradition alive there. Kind of
Yeah.
crazy to go so young. I mean, the dude's 2 years older than I am. Like,
it's 36. Yeah.
unreal, in charge of a entire team. But yeah, I'll be cheering for him definitely.
Could be you 2 years.
I mean, McVay
Probably
was hired when he was what, 32. So
Yeah, something crazy. I was younger then.
I mean, they have one of the younger rosters in the league too, so it could work out for him. Who else around the league? Any interesting hires?
There's been
The
I think we're
Titans
largely
picked up
done at
the
this point.
OC from the Bengals.
Callahan. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we got that last week, but yeah, things are slowing down.
There's no more vacancies, so it looks like Bill Belichick will not be a head coach this coming season.
Sheesh.
Be surprised if he comes back at all. If I'm honest, like, I get the whole Shula wins thing, but I mean, where's he gonna go? No one's gonna want him.
Yeah, it's so weird. I mean, the at least who aren't around Western New York, the rumor mill is if McDermott botches it again next year, you toss him and bring in Belichick to get over the hump and get the ring. But I don't know how much there is to that.
I mean, maybe he gets you over the hump, or maybe he just tears everything down and then just sets you back 5 years. And like, that's is
Yeah.
that a gamble you really want to take if you're a team that's near the hump? Like, that's why I don't think anyone's gonna bother with him. But
Right.
guess we're gonna have to wait another year to find out.
Yep. So, I mean, do we want to? Obviously, we should touch on the Super Bowl a little bit. I think next week we'll do a bit of a deeper dive, kind of like we did last year. But any initial thoughts or predictions or anything that you want to see, or
I want to see. I one take it's kind of cynical, but the whole Mahomes sideline nonsense, roughing the passer.
oh yeah,
He's so good at that. I swear. I hope like it comes to a head in this game. Like 100 million people watching, and
What is it?
you know how he's so good at like when he's running out of bounds or threatening to run out of bounds, and the defender has to choose between like hitting
His little
them
toe
late
tapping thing? Yeah.
yeah, all that sort of stuff. He's so good at drawing the flags or just making a defender miss and then juking him and picking up another 10 yards or whatever. Like that stuff drives me nuts. Where your choice is either like let him get extra yards or hit him and get the penalty. Like those are the only two valid options as a defender.
Sure.
So if we can cut some of that out and like make a point of it on the big stage, that'd be cool. But no, honestly, the line was 2, right? I think if we're gonna get into like, I don't know, the Chiefs. They feel so depleted. Like all their money is going into Mahomes and their vets more and more, and they're having to put in these rookies everywhere. And the whole regular season looks kind of shit. And then it's like, okay, they're figuring things out. They're looking spooky.
Yeah.
which is the
But,
Chiefs every year. I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this year I spent 8 weeks saying it before I gave up on them, and then they waited just to prove me wrong. But I still don't believe like they're not that complete, like ready to go championship team. I think as San Fran is. So I think 2 is probably not enough. Maybe it's so close because of that experience and because Casey's been doing it for such a long time. But
Sure.
yeah, I like San Fran in this game. I think they're sitting pretty. I hope CMC is going to run it. 200 yards,
Yep.
control the clock, score twice, and that'll be it. That's my hope.
Again, I like I said, I'm also pulling for San Fran, but I guess I just want to continue to give credit to the defensive line of the Chiefs. Like, we keep pointing back to that like Chris Jones signing and that holdout and blah blah blah, and like, man, egg on face for the Chiefs for even delaying that man, because I mean they have just been it doesn't matter who they're against. Like they don't look like they'd be good on paper, and at least to me they don't, and or at least not as good as they keep. I feel like they just keep punching up against everybody. And at that point, like you're not punching up, like you are, like that's where you belong.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
So I just feel like that's been like that defensive line has continued to impress me. From I don't know, from I guess like something I would not have given them as much faith into. But again, we did think they were one of the top teams going into the season, just given for what they've done. And I mean, here they are. They do it again.
Yeah, I mean, San Fran favored by 2. I think that's probably fair. Kind of like what you said, John. Not that everyone's necessarily been counting the Chiefs out. They're not who they were just a couple years ago, right? But they're still winning games. So who's to say that they can't win this one? -2 is, in my mind, that's a coin toss, right? That's a 50-50. -2 isn't anything. So I think it's anyone's game ultimately at this point. It's going to come down to, I think, who just makes the least amount of mistakes, right? That's been Mahomes' story through playoffs, is he's played mistake-free football. He hasn't turned the ball over once throughout playoffs.
Yep.
Purdy's only done it once. Granted, he only played 2 games instead of 3, but still, I mean, the Niners largely been playing mistake-free football. That one interception against the Lions is the only turnover we had. So, and it's going to be who can capitalize on whatever mistakes, how small they might not even be a turnover, right?
Sure.
To make the most of it, and I think both teams are equipped to do that. I mean, that's kind of been the Chiefs' MO, right? Just play mistake-free football, and that's kind of been the Niners' deal, is take advantage of a team's mistakes. When the team screws up, you get a turnover, capitalize on it, score points, and that's what the Niners did against the Lions to swing back the game. So it should be a fairly even matchup. Like we said earlier, they're not the same teams that they were when they met 4 years ago, largely. I'm sure Kyle's learned a few things over the last few years, and I'm sure Reed's learned a few things over the last few years. So,
yep.
I'm excited for it. I'm hoping for the Niners. But honestly, I don't know. Like I don't feel super confident one way or the other. It's feels like one of those games is just going to come down to the last few plays or the last few drives from either team. So in that case, -2 seems pretty accurate.
Yeah, those Vegas odds makers. I guess they know what they're doing after all. Bastards.
I would also like to highlight that the Wikipedia page for Super Bowl 55 is already updated to let us know that the 49ers and the Chiefs will meet again 4 years later at Super Bowl 58. And
Good to know.
I don't know. I just thought that was like that someone felt it was
Wikipedia's got you.
important to go back there and update that to let the I don't know. Someone feels good about that edit, and good for them.
Yep. We thank them.
Thank you. Thank you.
I will say one thing I'm not crazy about going in. So the Chiefs are technically the home team this time around, as they were last time, actually. The Chiefs are getting to use the Raiders practice facilities, which are nice, brand spanking new indoor facilities. And the Niners are practicing at UNLV, which is an outdoor facility. And it's supposed to be raining the whole time, which
You
Which
only
is
get to
weird
practice
for the
90
desert.
minutes a day anyway. It doesn't matter.
yeah, I don't think it should matter, but a little lame that we get crappier practice conditions. But what are you gonna do?
That's true.
Just because it's an even year.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Mark Davis offered the Raiders practice facilities to the Chiefs. Ultimately, not that he would like offering it to either the Chiefs or the Niners, but
Yeah, I think it's a whole part of hosting, isn't it? You don't get to play politics. And I don't like you, Jerry. You got to go to the high school down the road.
yeah, Mark Davis was making plenty of money off of this one.
Oh yeah.
He might actually be a real billionaire after this.
Oh.
Oh, shots fired.
I feel so bad for him.
Oh, what a tragedy.
Carl, how do you feel about watching the Niners and the Chiefs play Super Bowl in your home stadium? Do you care?
I mean, it'll look like any other Sunday there, and a lot of away fans. I mean, I'm torn because obviously we've been over it. I'm a little sad they moved, but like that stadium they did a good job. It looks pretty fucking cool. It looks nice there, so it'll be nice on the big stage and all that for the Super Bowl. And,
Yeah.
Question: will they
maybe
have the
Chiefs
torch lit?
I don't think they do when it's not Raiders things. It's a freaking digital thing anyway. They just push a button and it's a video board. It looks like fire. It's Mark Davis, man. Spared no expense.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Their everlasting torch is a fucking video thing they turn on during games and they turn off when they go home. Like it's so silly.
Oh God! The more you know.
Not the Olympics, not yet. We got
That's
to
hilarious.
work our way up. We'll get there. How about some trivia? I got some quick trivia.
Ooh,
Let's go.
sure.
Let's go.
In honor of Pro Bowl week, there are five teams that won't be represented at the Pro Bowl this weekend.
Oh, okay.
Two of them obviously are playing the weekend after. San Fran and KC. The other three teams, though, who, and this is not necessarily because they didn't get selected, but either didn't have any reserves or didn't go or whatnot. So, two shitty teams and one surprising one, maybe.
Okay. I mean,
Arizona.
Wrong.
The Panthers.
No.
Wait, what?
What?
Panthers had a Pro Bowler? Was it an
Oh, shit.
alternate?
Apparently they did. I have no idea. Must have been. I would assume an alternate.
Unbelievable.
Greg Olsen, maybe.
That's the obvious guys. Commanders?
Commanders are one.
Okay. There we go.
Ooh.
There we go.
Commanders.
The Bears?
Commanders are not one. I don't know who they got either.
Titans.
Not the Titans.
Really?
Derrick Henry always goes.
He had
I
like
did not
400
say-
yards this year.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. He still goes. Them's they don't call him King Henry for nothing,
I
right? Like
suppose, I suppose.
the rules are the rules, man. We don't make them. We just follow them.
All right. Oh, Baker Mayfield's doing his thing right now. All right, give me some guesses. We got to do this.
Oh my gosh.
All right. I don't know.
Seahawks.
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville and the Seahawks. All right. I like it. I'm locking it in.
All right, we're locked in.
All right, we'll go team. I think
Super
we'll probably
Bowl
catch you.
recap next week.
No,
In
the preview.
I'm sorry, the preview, not recap.
Yeah.
Preview.
Yeah,
In-depth
we'll-
previews next week,
Big old
baby.
preview for you next week. It should be a fun one. I can't wait to get into it.
Yep.
Until then, enjoy the Pro Bowl.
Okay.
See you.
We'll see you.
See you.